my story. I'm sticking to it. I leave here. I'm leaving here with a quote to think about. I think it was TR that said this. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Nice tribute for a teacher. Doesn't get any better than that. Thank you, Paul. And Paul was an Army guy. He spent how many years in the Army? 3 years. Good job. Good job. Well, what other veterans do we have in here? Raise your hand. Rick? The doctor, Randy Christensen. Any other vets? Larry Lauser? Mr. Timrick? Good. Congratulations. Thanks for serving. And then a few announcements I want to get to before I forget, and I'm going to work my way back to Vicki, because did I ever tell you how bossy Vicki is? I'm just going to have this one quick story. I called Vicki with the intention of coming up here. I thought I was going to get handed an agenda, read a few things, and be done with this thing. I called Vicki Monday on the way up here from Missouri, which is where I live. And I said, hey, Vicki, I'll be there, and I'll be ready to go. And she says, okay, hey, by the way, my husband's having surgery on Tuesday, and I might need you to do a few things. I said, well, Vicki, I've got 5 brothers and sisters, 2 parents, 185 and 188. My dad's blind, and my mom's got Alzheimer's. Got a brother-in-law in the hospital in the ICU, a sister-in-law in the hospital that's suffering. My wife has 3 siblings here. And she says, well, that's okay, you can do this stuff. You'll be there long enough. So she completely talked over me. And consequently, here I am. But she handed off about 3 or 4 things to me, and fortunately her husband's doing okay. He had a mole taken off his arm, is that what it was? I mean, it was a big deal. Had she called one more time, I thought I'd be doing the surgery, and I didn't know. But anyway, let's get our announcements so we don't forget, and then we can have a few more comments. The school tours, okay. There were going to be some tours set up anyway. Is there anybody interested in any tours? The old high school is out. What was left?
Magic City and Rasper.
The times are up there. I don't remember what they are right offhand, but Magic City is because of some work going on there. Can't do that. They can't do Central. Which is Central? Downtown. That's the one we went to. Okay, I was confused. Okay, thank you. Thanks for correcting me there, Vic. You enjoyed that, didn't you? Judy, will you have anything you want to say?
Your souvenir is your bandana napkin. And if you have any suggestions of what you would like to see or do for the year, just leave a comment at the desk or add it to Facebook or whatever. Just let us know. Something different like a pilgrim.
All right, well, I think that's it for announcements. Who else has a story? How about a lady telling the story? It's always the big mouth guys that get up. We get up, but how about a lady? Who wants to tell a story? Nancy? Nancy, do you have a story you want to tell? Okay, well, think about it, Nancy. You have one? Okay, Debbie.
I'm Debbie Schwan, and we lived in California, and of course during the big mortgage bust out there, the mass exodus left California, and we came back to North Dakota. My husband's family farm was by Butte and Keith, south of Keith, and we moved back there. No one had lived there for a few years, so the old Depression-style house, and we moved in with the mice. My husband would count how many you could catch in a week, and I said, this is becoming a sport, this is sick. But anyway, I had sold my house in Minot previously before we knew we were moving back here. And I thought, well, if we're gonna live on a farm, I'd like to raise something that's different. Not just cows and pigs and goats and sheep. So we bought alpacas, and we were breeding alpacas. And if you don't know what an alpaca is, similar to a llama, only smaller, more like sheep. It's a long neck. But they're the sweetest, most docile kind of creature to raise as a herd animal. And of course, they don't kick the daylights out of your fences and your buildings and things. So I thought, you know, I laid there and I thought, God, why didn't you make women, human women, the reproductive system more like alpacas? And my husband thought that was a terrible thing to ask. But you know, it's so unique. There's no more unique creature than the alpaca because they have no cycle. The females have no cycle, so there's no going into heat and timing and everything. You just breed them when you want to breed them, based on when you want the births to happen. And so you put them in the pen together. He'll chase her around, a small pen at that, and chase her around until she pushes down. Then he comes in from behind and he gargles in her ear. Talk about sweet nothings, I'm telling you. I can remember that from some guys, sweet nothings. But anyway, he gargles in her ear for about a half hour and then it's all done. And then 1 week later, we put them back in the same small pen. And if she's pregnant, she spits out. That's a good way to have children. Spit it on a monthly basis.
Hey guys, I'm sorry I asked for a woman to talk there. I didn't know we were all X-rated. I mean, we're talking about cycles, we're talking about getting down. I mean, what's going on here? Oh, we got another one. Thank you, Debbie.
Mine is more of a fiction story. As you know, I taught English for many years, so stories are my thing. Love them. But it's going to happen to all of us someday. We're all going to go to the big house in the sky. And I told this joke to Jerry Sty last night, and I'm going to kind of I'll fix it so it fits our class more. So, well, 3 members of the class of 1970 pass on, sadly. It does happen. We had Paula Dolson, Nancy Keating, and Kim Holmes. Passing away, going up to talk to St. Peter about getting into heaven. St. Peter's looking at the list going, Paula Dolson, oh, she's a sweetheart. In band, never anything she wouldn't do for someone. Nancy Keating, witty, intelligent, always had that wonderful sharp sense of humor. Kim Holmes. All I see about Kim Holmes was that he was notorious for copying Betty Miller's English. Anyway, St. Peter has to ask a couple of questions before people can get into heaven. So he turns to Paulette and says, Paulette, what did you find was the greatest problem when you were on earth living? Well, prejudice, for sure. She said, prejudice. Without a doubt. Oh, well, St. Peter said, in heaven there is no prejudice, so spell God, and you can get in. So G-O-D, she says, and in she goes. St. Peter then turned to Nancy Keating and said, and what was your biggest problem when you were on earth as well? Oh, I guess I'd probably have to say prejudice too, she said. It's a terrible problem. Well, again, you know, in heaven we don't have prejudice, so spell G-O-D, God, and in you go. You can give her the answer. So Nancy spells God, in she goes. Well, Kim Holmes is sitting there going, oh, God, it made, I can spell this. Yes, I can. So St. Peter asked Kim, what did you find was the biggest problem on earth too? Well, like everybody else, copying answers, so that's oh, prejudice, definitely prejudice. And St. Peter said, well, you know, on earth there is no prejudice, so spell, Kim's going, G-O-D, G-O-D, I got this. St. Peter goes, spell chrysanthemum and you can get in. I just couldn't resist because Kim confessed that to me, and as an English teacher, I'm not Miss Potter, but I have my days, let me tell you. So just a little good fun there, Kim. I love it.
Thank you, that was good. Kim, you've been getting guest on. Is there anything you want to say here? I mean, I thought you had friends here, but it's really not that way, Kim.
Okay. I forgot to mention, no, I'm not selling fried chicken. And I'm not trying to be half-asslow. But my wife and I shoot what's called cowboy action shooting out at the gun club out here, where you shoot pistols, shotgun, and a rifle. So this is part of the costume. And the other thing was, I know there isn't any more buffalo either. Doug was kind of giving me the time. But,
Wild Bill Cody.
Yeah. That was
Well, the way you guys talk about Kim, I thought you might use him as the target out there when you're doing that shooting. Well, who else would like to tell a story? Somebody must have something. Terry, I know you're just itching there. Can you keep it under 15 minutes?
There's a hand in the back.
You want Don, you have anything to say? Keith? Oh, back here. I have a hard time saying your last name. And I don't know your first name, so what is it? No, honest, this gentleman, he's been in the Marines, but honestly what I remember him from the most, and it's Rick Brewer, right? I should change it to Brewer, because I can say that I don't always hear. But this gentleman was a big supporter of the Salvation Army when he was in high school. You may remember, and it took a lot of guts on his part, he wore the Salvation Army uniform to school. Does anybody remember that? Yeah? Congratulations. Because in today's day, I'm sure you got your share of bullying, without a doubt. But, so really, I'm sure you're doing a good service. So, here we are.
I couldn't help but when I saw Miss Potter's picture on the screen, and if any of you were in the class when I was there, and her and I had a dispute.
Yeah, we were there.
You were stubborn though.
And what it was is the day before, she was passing out papers to us, and somehow I didn't get my assignment back. So I asked her, where was my paper? And she says, you can see me after class. So I said, well, okay. So after everyone left, and I went up to her and I said, okay, what happened to my paper that I turned in? She said, I never got a paper from you. You must have been asleep in class. And I said, I never sleep in class. And we got into a dispute, and I said, you know, I'll never talk to you again. Well, then the next day, or another time, she was passing things out, and we had a reading assignment. And so, as everybody was reading, and since I didn't again get my piece of paper, I raised my hand. And there was other students that would raise their hand, and she would respond on them, and she never responded to me. I had my hand up for 15 minutes. And then finally I went, talk about somebody sleeping in class, you want to let me talk. And the whole class was like, looked at me and said, that's Richard? No, that's not Richard. And she said, now sit down, little boy. And I said, I'm not your little boy. She said, if you don't sit down, I'll send you to the principal's office. I said, fine, I'll save you the time and go myself. And I walked down the classroom. And I went down to the principal's office. And the principal looked at me and said, what are you doing down here? Now, this was the afternoon class. I think it was like a 2 o'clock class or something. And I found out that apparently somebody in the morning class had a dispute with her too. And so he said, well, you're the second one that's had a problem with her. And so I'll never forget that, you know. And then close to the end of our senior year, I thought she was going to give me a big fat F and flunk me for English, but she didn't. I believe she gave me a C. And I looked at that C and I said, must have been for that courage that I stood up and just let her have it. And I'll never forget my classmates when I started